Welcome, Aries. It's good to be back. My name is Moonshine. If you're returning, welcome. I'm glad to see you. If you're new, thanks for joining. All my readings are going to be based off of a theme now. I've decided to kind of change a few things, and your theme today is endings. So I'm not sure what is ending today, Aries. But take what resonates and leave what doesn't, all right? This is all just advice and good, positive flow of energy. It's whatever you make of it, okay? Let's see what happens. I'm going to keep these readings brief as possible anyways, and as few distractions as possible. That seems like a lot. Okay. I also don't feel like I'm going to be reading anything in reverse anymore. It just doesn't make sense to me. For the most part, we've got 5 of Pentacles, we have 7 of Pentacles, and we have Temperance. So from the looks of it, something that could possibly be ending is something that has possibly that you started in the winter. Okay, I'm getting the theme of winter, and where I am, we've been in winter for like 2 months now. So even though it's not even winter technically as a season yet. So you could have started something in the winter, and it's kind of just been left out on a tree not growing. Like, you notice that this tree is dead and the pentacles are just hanging on. It kind of seems like what would have been left over of the previous harvest in the spring or in the fall, right? It doesn't seem like this tree would have been able to produce what was on it in the winter, right? So you obviously did something, because there's the 7 of Pentacles here, and that's where that garden is, where I feel like this actually started. It took a really long time to get to wherever it was going, and now it just kind of seems like maybe you have to give up on something. And if it has to do with money, then what the world is saying is with the Temperance here. It's kind of saying to just balance it out, balance your emotions on it, ground yourself and ground your emotions, and know that when you make a decision that's good for yourself, that the universe sometimes will grab your hand for you when you least expect it, right? And if you're holding on to something that no longer is bearable, like, could you imagine if this was fruit left on a tree, could you imagine how rotted and disgusting it would be if you went to eat it? But you could change it into, say, if it was fruit and it was old rotting fruit, you could put it in a smoothie, right? You could put it into a frozen fruit bar. You could still do something with it, because it took so long to get to where it is that now it's almost like you have to eat the fruits of your labor now. And it's saying, with the balancing, she's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on ground. So it's like you have to balance your emotions on this, and it could be a really devastating ending, because you could have put a lot into it. I mean, anything that bears fruit, like, if anybody that knows that if you start a seed and that tree or that plant makes it to the vegetation stage, you've basically done your work. Now you just have to maintain, right? So it could be hard to let go of something because you started it from the beginning, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have its time to end. Okay? And the rainbow is there. So it's almost like after the storm, you do see a rainbow, and every storm has to end and pass, right? And then on the other stack that fell, we've got the 9 of Swords, and then we have the Emperor, and we have the 8 of Swords. Now, we've got the 8 of Swords in reverse, okay? But I'm not going to take it in reverse, like I said, but I'm going to kind of read it a little differently, because it seems like moving into the future here, the future coming, I would say in the next couple of weeks, okay? It seems like you're going to be really defensive on something, and you're going to end up standing your ground Okay. And you could be standing your ground in a position where now you don't want to move. Like you could be transitioning into something. And the whole beauty about this Eight of Swords card is it's kind of hard to see, but you can, if you can see, she's on a little tiny ledge. And right above, like right below that ledge is the ground. But because she has a blindfold on, all she feels is that her toes are on the edge of something. She doesn't know that the ground is right there. So you could be moving into a position where you are a little bit scared to move because clearly something didn't work out. So now you might feel like you have to be this overbearing, fight till blood to keep this status, because it looks like now you're going to be moving into an emperor status, which is kind of comfortable at home. You know, not that he's at home, but he's in his place. He's in his village. He's in the place that he created with watching two children that are most likely his. Okay? So you could be moving in a position where suddenly, actually, you know, I just heard you could be getting a different job and you end up working with somebody who has kids that are constantly there. Okay? And it's okay because the father's watching them all the time or the parents watching them all the time, but you could be moving into a family business. And also, you don't know how to move, okay? Because this could be, you could be moving into something that you're not quite sure. And you also could, you might have to bite the bullet a little bit and let people talk over you and talk around you and not really talk to you. And you don't know how to move yet because you don't know these people. So I do feel like whoever this emperor is coming in for you, they know you're defensive. But they also know that if you're defensive, it's because of a reason, right? You stand your ground. That's not a bad thing. And you might find somebody that appreciates you being as defensive as you are, so then they don't have to put as much into it, right? So if you have to give up something, okay, and you have to bite the bullet and say, all right, listen, I can't do this on my own. I have to stop this. It's not making me money anymore. I can't do it anymore. It's moving too slow. I have to balance myself out here. My emotions are getting swept away with this. I'm putting way too much into it. And then you take that defensiveness from what you were just doing and put it inside of you. Then wherever you move to, that person could be defending something all on their own. And now you get to move in and be like, listen, I'll defend it with you. You don't have to put in all of the work all the time. I can help you, right? You just don't know how it's going to be received. You don't know how you're being received or perceived. But all you have to do is take the blindfold off and realize you just have to take a step down. That's it. All you have to do is take a step down. And if there are people barking around you and there are people doing things around you, then just know your position doesn't hold as high a rank as them, and you don't have to take on all that responsibility, right? And actually, this reminds me of this movie I just watched the other day. It's called United 93. It's about the September 11th planes that hit that day and like inside the watchtowers, right, of the people who are controlling these planes from the ground. And it's almost like your job isn't that hard. You know, like you don't, if somebody's above you, let the superior do the job. You can now just defend yourself because this isn't your harvest, right? This isn't what you've grown. You had to let that go. So now it's like just defend what's yours. Just defend your ground. That's all you have to do. You don't have to defend other people. You most certainly don't have to defend this person. Right? All you have to do is keep yourself from feeling like you can't take that step down. Ooh. Anything else? Anything else from my Aries babies? I love Aries so much. Aries is one of my favorite signs in the whole world. And then we've got karma. So what goes around comes around. You could be getting 2 more people to work with, and now you finally have what you need. And honestly, what goes around comes around. Okay, if you've been asking for something and you've been lighting up the flares and you've been waiting for something to come back around because of all the work that you've done, karma is now telling you. This is an eclipse that they're looking at. And an eclipse is kind of one of those things that you can't even look directly at it, or you can lose your sight. So and again, this is kind of what this is. You might be walking into something and you don't know what's going to happen. And that's the amazing thing about tarot, and it's the amazing thing about this world, is that so many things happen that we don't know are going to happen. But you might be a little bit scared. It's just to let you know that where you're going, you just don't know. Thanks for watching.